That's how my mom wouldn't. That's how she was walking yesterday. That's why we were 18 minutes to get from being dropped off. And it wasn't even that far to get in and to the dentist seat. 18 minutes. And the woman who I didn't even know, I had never met her before, but I don't go to my mom's dentist appointment. Everything's different these days. Usually her friend who couldn't do it would bring her, and I don't go. And the woman, the hygienist, was like, well, come back to help your mom out of that chair at this time. I'm like, you're only gonna, that's 32 minutes from now. You're gonna cut her thing that short? She's like, well, I have a schedule to keep. And I'm thinking, but I'm in my 50s, like, how many times in my life have I been kept for medical appointments going, like, I've had to wait 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and that's because the previous person was probably late coming, or something happened. Medical is never, very rarely on time. And when she said that to me, I'm like, I was like, my eyes, I'm like, so that's not enough time. You're going to have the doctor see her too? And that's going to be just in 32 minutes. She's like, well, I'll do my best. But she thought about it and she knew I was upset. And in the end, I was walking around outside because it was only a short amount of time. I actually accidentally was a little bit late, but she hadn't even had the doctor come. And I thanked her. I'm like, so you didn't cut it short then? And she's like, no. But her instinct was to cut it short because we were late, which isn't my fault, but isn't my mom's fault either. But also, I know damn well, even if you can't, I understand, because they could have turned us away and we weren't going to, something's better than nothing. Even if it was going to be cut short, it's still better than nothing, okay? She needed x-rays. She hadn't been there in over a year. And it's the same with my dentist. You do the hygienist, and then the doctor sees you after. And when I came in and I was late, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was supposed to be back here in the 32 minutes from 18 to 50. And I wouldn't expect her to add on the 18 minutes, but I said to her, I made her think at least. I'm like, you can't have your next patient, because I have a next patient at 2. You can't have her wait. I'm like, I've waited, and but she was not budging. But I guess she thought about it, and in the end, she did the right thing, because I never would have gone back there. But we're supposed to move anyway. But she did the right thing, because that's not fair. You don't have to give us an 18 extra minutes, but I know people can be late with traffic and stuff in 10 minutes. I've always been told, like, even when I'm going to my hair, if you're more than 10 minutes late, we'll have to reschedule, But I don't expect you to add on 18 minutes to the normal time, but at least add on the 10, which is what they ended up doing. They at least gave her, so it was supposed to start at 1, and I guess go to 1 to 1:45. And because we were 18 minutes late, and she has to get my mom has to get out of the chair, and then she has to clean it for the next patient too. I would have been happy if she had done it 10 extra minutes, so 18, 28, 38, 40. So instead of, if it's supposed to go 1 to 1:45, then it should at least go 10 extra minutes to 55. And it wound up even doing that, but that's because she was done, but she called the doctor over, and he didn't get over immediately. I wanted to cry. There's nothing I can do. Like, Mom, what's going on? If you can't walk with your walker, like, you're gonna end up Parkinson's. When we have VNA, they have an initial evaluation. And then, in this instance, in this company, it was good because the initial evaluator for physical therapy upset my mom. She was really nice, but she upset my mom because she was said right in front of her to me, like, your mom can't walk doing those baby steps. Maybe that could be Parkinson's. And my mom got all upset about that. And we were like, she doesn't necessarily have Parkinson's, but we don't know. But now, she's doing way less big steps and just like almost all baby steps now. She came home yesterday and did some big steps. I'm like, why couldn't you have done that at the dentist? We were 18 minutes late. You almost had to have a shorter appointment. But to me, that was rude. I was mad. I was upset, but I can't do anything about it because they're within their right to say, reschedule then. I'm not going to have you be, I can't make my next patient wait 20 minutes longer. I wasn't expecting that, but I wasn't expecting her to tell me to come back in 32 minutes, which would include doing x-rays, the cleaning, and having the doctor look at my mom. That wasn't right. But she essentially wasn't going to budge. She looked at me, she's like, I have a schedule to keep. I'm thinking, you fucking bitch. You're going to do that? And my poor mother, and you're going to cut it short like that? I know there are people, I know I've had to wait, and I know people wait for all different reasons, including there are people who get cut in traffic. There are things that happen. So that upset me, but I'd already had the ordeal of like, I couldn't believe how slow my mother was going. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Of course, she doesn't know why it's happening either. It's got to be neurological. It's not physical. I thought she was not walking because she was in pain. We got rid of the pain. We saw her podiatrist, scraped the callus. No, she's just not walking, and it's getting worse instead of better. It's progressed to be, it's gotten worse. I'm sorry, Mom. If I had superpowers, I'd snap my fingers, this place would be sold, and we'd already be with Joe. I can't do anything but her not be able to walk. At least she's not in pain, physical pain. There are people in physical pain, and you can't do it. She's not in physical pain. She's crying because she can't walk. There's nothing anyone can do about that. It could be Parkinson's. It could be exactly the forewarning, the warning of that one person we never saw again. That was someone who came here for the initial visit, and then we had the guy the whole rest of the time for the months, and we really, really liked, but he spent all that time cutting up her, getting her in the stockings, compression stockings, and cutting them, and he forgot the scissors and had to get back home and get them, and she missed a whole day of therapy because of that. The therapy that was taken over with spending the whole time, and it took him longer than he normally would be here. And then in the end, she doesn't want to wear them. She hates them, so that was, at least we didn't have to pay for them. Went through the insurance, went through the VNA, went through the insurance, and there you go. But I was going to pay for them at first when I couldn't find a place, because her doctor's office referred me to a place that, like, we told them before, we don't take insurance. How much would they be? Like $40? But I'm glad. $40 is $40 when you're poor. And he doesn't care. Doctor said she doesn't have to be on the statin, so that's good. I'm glad. I don't want her to take the statin, but I didn't want her to be in severe danger from not taking it up. I didn't remember she'd ever been on it before. She was on it years ago, and we took her off of it because I didn't want her on it. I looked up about it, and she's on Metatrol and Entresto. She doesn't need to have statin as well. She was put on that in the regular hospital, and her doctor thinks it's overkill, so got lucky. But when we didn't see him and saw his assistant, because when you first get out of any hospital, you're supposed to see someone within a week, and to fit her in with him when he's so busy, it would take months, They can't see in a week, so we saw, which we've done plenty of times in the past, or she has on her own, the doctor's assistant. And the doctor's assistant, she was like, you need to be on that statin. She was mad we wanted to cut it in half to try to reduce the peeing, because apparently it is a side effect. Who knew? All I know is she never peed that much, and when I had to take her, it was 11 times in one day. That was ridiculous. I was adamant we're taking her off of we're going to cut this in half. I didn't think we could take her off of it, but cut it in half. But then she fixates on it and thinks that being off of it will cause her to not pee as much, but we did an experiment one night, and to me, I was up and she peed the same. But I didn't. It was less. It was less coming out each time. I don't know. It seemed like you got up the same amount of times. Then other times you slept straight through to 7 hours. Good, I don't have a good sense of smell because I know it smells like pee down here. And then I was getting something from under the couch, and I had my head down there. I slept out there for like 3 hours listening to really low music choice rock. Then I went back in my room, and I'm grateful I fell asleep. I went on the computer from 6 to 6:30, but I fell asleep from 6:30 till she woke me up at 10 minutes to 8, 9. And then, as can usually happen, she's like, you gotta get up. And sometimes I have a leg cramp or something. I can't immediately get up. But then I make her breakfast, and what do you think happens? I gotta go do it. I know. So you rush me and you push me, and if I'm not up immediately, you were headed, even though you're gonna lie about it. Because I said, what are you getting up for? I know you were going to go and try to get me. I can't get up instantly, okay? It's early. It's like 9 o'clock right now. But I was going to the chair. No, you weren't. You know, you're not allowed to go to the chair until I set it up so you sit down on it correctly. Since she can't get the chair out and sit on herself with the walker, we have to have it sideways, and then I push it in, and it's still not exact, but we get it close enough. And then we have to leave room over here for her to get out. It smells like pee on that. So did she pee the couch again and we just don't know it? She didn't realize. I don't know. It gets so overwhelming, all the bedding I have to wash and the couch and everything, all on top of our regular clothes. Crying's not going to change anything. You can cry till the cows come home. It's not going to change the fact that you can't walk in the walker and you take the baby steps. It's not going to change. Nothing's going to change it. At least you're not in physical pain anymore. I want to get you shoes. I don't know what size to get. I'm flying blind. Which size shoes? I already got the bigger shoes. You want hospital socks. So, what size do you wear in the thick hospital socks? I thought the podiatrist would help me out in that area. Instead, it's like, she doesn't wear an 11, she wears a 10. And I mean, she wears an 11 because she has inserts, but she probably wears a, who knows what size, because she wears a thick hospital socks. You're no help. But you did scrape her callus and find the pre-ulcer, and we like you, and we don't have to travel via every form of public transportation imaginable to get to her 20-year one who makes her scream when he scrapes her callus. So, is he not caring enough? Has a different tool? Old school? Who knows? I thought nothing was being done because I'm used to her screaming. I've gone and I've heard her from the waiting room screaming. Why is she screaming? And then I was sitting next to her and he did it and she was screaming. He didn't make her scream at all, the new one. But he was not helpful in me choose for her. Cheaper, we can't go and take her to try them on. It takes an hour for her to walk from the, not quite, but it could, depending on how far away you are. When the person was coming to get us, and we don't want to be late for the appointment, my mom was just inching along in our house. Like, this is ridiculous. We're going to be late. This was another appointment. We're going to be late. So I'm smart, and I had the innovative, brilliant idea to stick her on that computer chair that wheels that's out there by her piano. And then instead of her taking, I'm like, are you coming? She's just inching along. I'm like, Mom, they're here. We need to go. I can't. And then, so I stuck her on that computer chair, and in a minute, I could wheel her. What would have taken 15 minutes easily. From our couch to our front door. 15, she's just inching along, so that she can't, if she's just inching along, and think how long that takes from the couch to the door. I was beside myself. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? She can't walk with the walker. What the fuck am I supposed to do? What the fuck am I supposed to do? And I thought of that wheeling. That's the only thing we have in the house. We have that wheeling thing. Now she wants a wheelchair. I don't want her to have a wheelchair. Then your legs is trophy, and that's what B&A didn't want her to have a wheelchair. Yesterday we could have used a wheelchair, but we're not going back. She got x-rays. She doesn't have any cavities. We're good to go. That's done. She goes every 4 months like I do. I'm hoping we're out of here by then, because if we're not, feasibly I could find a realtor. Now I've got to start from the drawing board. But I know the one that I plan on using has valid reasons. It just sucks. I was all ready, I was all prepared, and now I have to go back to this sucks. But feasibly, your house could sell fast. Feasibly, I don't think it will, but we're not in an emergency. We're all trying to get the best amount of money. And then Joe's like, we could go with I would never in a million years do that, Joe. Not in a million years would I not use an agent. Not in a million years. I'm hanging on by a fucking thread taking care of her. I'm not selling a house on my own. Are you kidding me? Selling my home on my own. Not on your fucking life would I do that. I don't think it's a wise thing for most people to do anyway. I really don't. I think the agent fights and knows what to say and do. As long as I would make sure I would never let an agent be dishonest. Okay, we have to disclose everything. We don't know if there's a mold. We haven't had that. I don't know how that works. But we do know there were four burst pipes in less than a year. But Joe says they will spin it. Well, yes, there were burst pipes, but that means they've all been fixed. So they can't, they've been fixed. And we had tens of thousands of work. We had 13,000 6 years ago, or so, whatever that was, 6 years ago. We had 17,000 recently, and that's low end. Easily, it's like more than that. It's just that's what the insurance will pay. It's easily, like my contractor would say, like good 20 or more thousand. He knows what he charges. When it's not through insurance and the people are paying him out of pocket, the homeowners. I need to contact him. I need to check all my voicemails, prove that I'm right, but I was checking them every day. So I really, I'm 99.999% certain that he was gaslighting me, saying I've called you because she didn't like overhearing me say, what are you calling her for? We already called her. She and the other two people that I begged to get us to this emergency appointment didn't even have the courtesy to get back to me. Well, the voicemail hadn't hung up yet, so I'm in her, and she wasn't happy. And what are you doing accusing me for? I got back to you no, you didn't. And I know in my gut you didn't ever got back to me about when Omar died either. But months later, I can't say for sure. Months later, I can't say for sure. I just know at the time I was heartbroken and just thought you didn't like us. And now you're going to try to pretend that you got back to me when you didn't. And now this time around, you're not going to get away with it because I know I've been checking every day and hurt that you're not getting back to me when I missed you that one time when my phone was charging. And I told you to contact my mom. I mean, I was so proactive, and I still have to get eye contact. I don't I don't appreciate you accusing me of things. What a fucking farce is this whole entire existence for me. Not for everyone, not even for most people, for me. For me. I had a dream. This is what I dreamed this morning. And then people who are ignorant, or just people who are just whatever, they're automatically going to say, because I've gotten that, oh, you like him, or you want to fuck him, or I had a dream that I wasn't in my contractor's arms. It was almost like, because remember, and it was forgiveness. We were somewhere, and he was it was just comfort. It would never happen in real life, of course not. I would never be interested in him. And again, he tried to hook me up with his friend, fix me up, and that wasn't going to happen either. I'm smart enough to have that not happen. I didn't want to fuck up my relationship with my contractor that he ends up, a year or so later after he tried to hook me up with his friend, fucking up on his own, okay? But in the dream, it was comfort. It was him, and it was really him, and him that married him, and him that had done that hurt me so badly, and there was forgiveness, and it wasn't like we were gonna have sex or anything like that. It was, but he was on the, and I just was like leaning against him. That's all, leaning against him. Comfort, forgiveness. In the dream, leaning against him. In the dream, he was not my boyfriend. We were not cheating. He was who he was. Although it doesn't make sense why he was lying down there and I was next to him, not even in the bed. The guy was on the floor, and I just was like, something like leaning my head into him. Something, I don't know. All I know, it was comforting. And it wasn't sex, and it wasn't meant to be sex, and it wasn't him cheating on his wife and me doing that, which I'd never do in a million years, okay? But it was him. Because I did like him, not in that way. Even if he was single, I would never want to be with him or do anything with him. I was somewhat attracted to him, but we have things somewhat in common, but I would never, again, when you're leaning comfort, you don't have to have everything in comfort, When I was back with Joe, my ex, when I was visiting that first time in Lake, after Donald had nearly killed me, shoved me and laughed about it, they caused my death or worse, and Joe invited me for a retreat. I was now 232 pounds, and Joe was his lean self. He always keeps himself lean. Okay? He does it. He's in his 60s, mid-60s, 10 years older than me. And I said to him, I wish I could just be in your arms, just hold you holding me, not sex, not, you know what I mean? Of course, Joe would never do that. We're not together anymore. It's not appropriate. That's what I have to hear all the time, constantly. You can have a rapport with somebody, even someone single, opposite sex, or or as the case may be, the same sex. Okay, no judgment. And that doesn't mean you'd ever want to be with them as a boyfriend, girlfriend, or even have sex with them. So don't think my dream is like, oh, you're hot for your contractor. No. It's because that I never had a dream like that before. It's because all that went down, and that's hurtful that I lost him as a friend, and so the dream is just manifesting like that. Because even though we artificially made up, things will never be the same again. I mean, it's only pure chance that I caught that, and we would have never known that underneath there he hadn't fixed that. I'd never known that they would all be covered up by the rug. Okay, the crime would be covered up by the rug. I wasn't supposed to know, and even when I caught him and called him, he gaslighted me. That's forgivable in that, at least he made it right, being forced. Okay, but I guess technically he wanted to make it right anyway, but I was just so hurt. I was ignoring everything, from his sending me emails, from him sending me texts, and he did want to make it right. How did we find that out? Because my Joe was willing to have me send everything to him that I was unwilling to open myself, because I did open stuff at the very beginning, texts from my contractor telling me off, so why am I going to trust anything in the future? Of course not. I risked it at the very beginning, and it was like, I'm sorry you feel that way over light water stand. That was it. I'm never going to respond to you or your wife again. I'll still pay you. You fucked me over. You made me cry. The dream is manifesting that I wish things had never changed between me and him. He was my buddy. We joke, we laugh, we even have, not sexual banter, I wouldn't say that. Just joking and laughing and just go have my 1 organic lemon, half a teaspoon Himalayan crystal salt, and my next 16 ounces of water. I have to start taking my native fiber. I thought my mom was going to be taking that with me. She doesn't want to. Because she can't take extra water. She's only having her limited fluids. As long as it takes her a million years to get to the bathroom, and she has to use that walker, which my guess is going to be forever. And she can either accept it or not. You can accept reality or not accept reality. And it's still fucking reality, isn't it? Okay? I'm not a superhero, Mom. I'm not God. You want to cry and cry and cry, and then you cry. If I, like, why do I have to leave you? Because I'll I can't escape here sometimes, Even when I was home for days resting my foot, and the minute I wanted to leave and thought I could try leaving, she was upset about me leaving. It's like a little kid. I can't make your pain go away, Mom. I can't make my own pain go away. There's nothing I can do about her plight. I can just say it could be worse. She could be in physical pain. Yesterday was so bad. Oh, I couldn't wait to get home. Late. I had to make her late lunch. She does is cry. She's crying endlessly over something that can't change. It's like, what the fuck? Continuously crying. There's nothing anyone can do about you. It's not physical. You're physically able to walk. It's in your mind. It's neurological. There's nothing we can do.